Tom Brady has undoubtedly been among the best football players in the world. Name the statistical accolade and he's up there. Passing yards, passing TDs, fourth quarter comebacks, number of children kissed, he's up there. Thing that has separated him from guys like Brees, Rodgers, and even Manning and Montana is his transcendent ability to win ball games. Despite being far from the most talented QB we've seen, Brady being in the mix for the Super Bowl has simply been inevitable. For nearly 2 decades now, Brady has tormented the league, pulling wins out of left and right field en route to having as many AFC championships as Phillip Rivers has kids. He also has 6 Super Bowl rings, which isn't too shabby. At 43 years of age, Brady had nothing left to prove to cement his place as the GOAT. He could have retired about 3 years ago, maybe even 4, and still have the best claim to that title. But last season, he left the Patriots to answer the one question surrounding his legacy. It was dang near impossible to objectively determine how much of the success was due to him and how much was due to Belichick and the Patriot System. Could Brady do this in a different setting, without Hall of Fame coaching, without one of the best sports organizations, period? This season, he emphatically put such imaginations to bed, instantly changing the culture of an historically horrid franchise and overcoming his rivals to reach his 10th Super Bowl and transcend GOAT status itself. At the same time, the Patriots are staring hard at a full rebuild, even with a former MVP in Cam Newton. Tampa Bay Buccaneers were an obvious destination for Brady. It was a team with immense promise, having the tools to be successful on both sides of the ball. Even without Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski, they had one of the best receiving corps in the whole league, headlined by Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, you know you're talented when Winston is able to put up 5,000 passing yards. Cameron Brate and OJ Howard was a great 1-2 punch at the tight end position, and they had some hidden gems like Tyler Johnson and Miller. Their defense, while not perfect, had immense talent in the trenches. Saw, Levante David, and ascending Devin White, Vita Vea. But the talent on this roster wasn't concentrated, wasn't properly utilized. Having not made the playoffs in 13 years, it was tainted and marred by their losing culture, lack of leadership, quarterback deficiencies. The team was in need of a new identity, a totally revamped culture. And Brady had his work cut out for him, turning this undisciplined, underutilized squad into a streamlined Super Bowl caliber team. Even more so with the pandemic causing a virtual offseason and no preseason to build any sort of chemistry. Seldom times they did manage to practice, it would be under strict COVID protocols. A brutal environment to build any team in, and it showed through their shaky start to the season. There was multiple instances of players being on different pages and confusion about the play, all that culminating in a November slump where they lost 3 out of 4 games. These issues and inconsistencies stayed with them even through the start of the playoffs, where they struggled against Heineke and the Washington football team. Now the Saints were the first true postseason test for Brady and the Bucs, an incredibly deep and well-rounded team led by a quarterback who not only rivals Brady in regular season stats, but one of those rare guys who's consistently found success against him in their matchups. Brees was 5-2 against him and statistically outplayed him in nearly every meeting. Brady was down bad against that New Orleans defense, around the 1-to-1 TD to interception ratio. Even with Brees' increasingly noodle-like arm, the Saints were able to decimate the Bucs in their regular season meetings. Had the secret recipe to cooking up a game plan to stop the Bucs. They got the ball out fast on offense and were able to pressure Brady on defense without even blitzing. One of those meetings they beat Brady by 35 points. That's probably the worst game I've ever seen Brady play. Brees was having one of the best games of his career, 81% completion, 4 TDs. This idea that the Bucs could go into New Orleans and beat this team that has had their number all season long was completely alien. They ended up winning that game though, not through Brady's arm, but more so the implosion of the Saints offense. Brees could not throw the ball more than 20 yards with any accuracy or zip. Ben saw this, adjusted to a stacked box look. You had guys like Devin White having the game of their lives. This same thing would be repeated in the frozen tundra at Lambeau Field, this time against Aaron Rodgers, who has long been considered the most talented quarterback in the league. And he was in the middle of a revenge tour, with his last Super Bowl appearance being a decade ago. Now, if you talk to any Rodgers fan about his legacy, they'll tell you that his teammates, his coaching, the general organization never matched his transcendent ability. There is always constant conversation about what would be if he had Belichick in the Patriot System, and vice versa. Even as a Brady fan, I'll concede that there is some truth to that. Green Bay is notorious for being stingy when it came to spending on surrounding talent, seemingly more worried about life after Rodgers than winning in the present. That much was crystal clear with them trading up to draft Jordan Love instead of drafting weapons for Rodgers. Brady had a great first half, capitalizing in the red zone, helping the Bucs burst to a 21-10 lead. But he ended up with a box score that looked very reminiscent of a Jameis Winston performance. Now, you can say what you want about the Packers defense. There were definitely a number of blown plays. Rodgers was giving chance after chance to make a play and win this game, but he couldn't do it. He didn't make the play. This game underscored the difference between them beautifully. There are many throws that Rodgers can make in his sleep that Brady can't even dream of attempting. Buccaneers defense definitely came to play today. When it comes down to it, Brady just wins, even when he doesn't play well. You can chalk it up to him getting bailed out time and time again. I mean, he is somehow 3-1 when throwing 3 interceptions in the postseason. I'm calling that GOAT-like luck. Bruce Arians described this phenomenon best. He said Brady gave the whole organization top down the belief that they could win the Super Bowl. In one season, he completely warped the culture full of guys who've never played in one postseason game. He got every single person to do their job and do it well. Again, this isn't basketball. One person usually can't come in and change the fortunes of an entire franchise, but at this point it's clear that Brady is just built different. His influence, leadership, and other intangibles have shown to give any squad, any team, any franchise the ability to win it all. GOAT Brady has fundamentally altered our perception of the difficulty of reaching a Super Bowl. Rodgers and Brees, both surefire Hall of Fame QBs, 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time. Brady has more rings in his 40s than they have in their entire career combined. One of the best parts of being a fan of any sport is these GOAT debates. MJ versus LeBron, Messi versus Ronaldo, Gretzky versus whoever's next up in hockey. But when it comes to the NFL, there is simply no competition. There is no debate. Last stop for them is at home against Mahomes and the Chiefs. A storybook run like this will of course have to have a storybook ending. Tony Romo nailed it when he described this matchup as an MJ versus LeBron right before our eyes. I vividly remember their postseason matchup from 2 years ago. Brady and the Patriots barely managed to delay the commencement of the Chiefs' dynastic run. 2 weeks from now, we'll find out whether he will further delay the Chiefs and specifically Mahomes from inching towards his accolades. The league's greatest of all time being challenged by the first player who seems capable of dethroning him. That is all I have for y'all today. If you like this video and you want to see more football content from me, consider liking and subscribing. One thing that is not negotiable though, if you made it to the end of this video, you have to leave a comment down. There's no way you don't have an opinion about the video you just watched. But until next time, stay safe.